Time now for Baseball Night in New York. I am joined by Mr. Andy Martino and Mark Malusis. What are your thoughts on the Mets' deadline moves today? Simple question.
Yeah, well, I liked it. But you gave me a lot of room to respond, Michelle, and I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of room to go wherever I want with that. No, look, I like what they did acquiring Jay Bruce because look, this year's team, we saw it tonight. They're okay. There are issues, and I know that the front office doesn't see this year's Mets as quite necessarily as potentially special as last year's Mets. That said, it's a weak competition in the National League. You can still get a wild card. You never know what's going to happen. Jay Bruce makes them better this year, but the key, as Sandy Alderson said repeatedly in his press conferences, he's under control for 2017. They weren't feeling like they wanted to do like a rental player like they did as they thought with Cespedes last year. So Bruce gives them an outfielder for next year, an insurance moose if Cespedes opts out, which I expect him to.
Yeah, and listen, I think it works. You add the RBI leader in the National League, certainly. You add a guy that go out there. He's got a good arm, can't really field right field. And the outfield defense now is an absolute mess because they don't have a pure center fielder. You throw Granderson out there, even if Cespedes out there in left field, the quad's still hurting. They're not going to go out there and cover much ground. With that being said, Bruce does give out there and take some pressure off the rest of the guys in that lineup, what he's able to go out there and do, driving guys in, hitting balls over the fence. And anytime you can get rid of Antonio Bastardo. I know what Jonathon Niese is at this stage, coming out of the bullpen. I trust Niese right now coming out of the bullpen more than I do trust Bastardo.
That's a nice little move. I mean, it's when Alderson announced it, he had this smirk on his face. It was like, guys, I understand this trade's actually quite humorous.
Yeah.
But it works. Niese actually is a team option next year. They could get rid of him. They could cut bait after this year. He looked pretty good in that role coming out of the bullpen in the postseason last year. Bastardo's just been a complete disappointment. So
how many fences does he need to mend in that clubhouse right now?
Oh, it's a great question. He is helped by the fact that he threw guys under the bus repeatedly year after year.
Right.
So it's not like a surprise. He did it on his way out, of course. He said he was really looking forward to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Because they could field.
Yeah, right. It helps now. Look, you got guys like Neil Walker and James Loney, as Drupal Cabrera, if he comes back, that weren't a part of that team that Niese was criticizing. But I think there's just a general understanding of what kind of guy John Niese is. Teammates roll their eyes and whatever. If he can pitch, just I really think that's how they're going to look at it.
What about your thoughts on Herrera?
Well, Dilson Herrera is a guy who the Mets were excited about and the fans were excited about. But at the end of the day, Jay Bruce is a polished major league hitter. Herrera is an infielder, Bruce is an outfielder. But the point is, when you have prospects, you hope they turn into perennially good players like a Jay Bruce. So I don't have a problem, Michelle, turning a Herrera into that guy, especially because they've got Jose Reyes and Wilmer Flores under contract for next year to play second.
Well, if you don't have a problem, I don't have a problem.